Hi there. In this video today, I'm going to be covering how to do keynotes and keynote presentations. This keynote presentation guide is more towards beginners, so if you're feeling more confident, I'll be posting another video shortly. So if we go down here and we see this guy right here, this is your Keynote app. You'll click it and open it, and you're going to be presented with a bunch of different options. Now the first thing you get to choose from is standard, which is this your standard square, or wide. I usually work with standard, but you can work with widescreening as well, and that just kind of helps you be more presentable for the widescreen TVs, but standard fits just as fine. So today I'm just going to be picking a very bland and normal presentation. So I'm going to be picking the white version of my presentation. And what that will do is you guys can pick any of the other ones you want. So double click on that and it'll open it up. And what this is your title page. So a lot of you will be familiar with this from like PowerPoint. You can just title it. So I'm going to title mine How to Use Keynote by Mr. Cole. So now that we have some words typed in here, and you can see how large these text boxes get, you can kind of play around with these text boxes, and you can either get it to be, I like it to be really snug with the words, just so that I have more of an easier time to manipulate it. As you can see over here on the right side of the screen, we have some different options. We have some fillings, so if I click on this, it'll turn it to a background blue, green, red, purple. You guys get the idea. So just for the lesson, I'm going to go with blue. Now by doing blue, it changed my text size to a different color. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the words. As you can see on the right side, that automatically changes it to text. Now if you didn't want that and you just click on the box, you can switch to text and pick some different. Some of you might notice I have Pokemon Solid. I found this as a download on the internet, and you can actually download different fonts from different internets through our font app, which I can cover in a different video, or you can feel free to email me. So I'm going to change my font size, text, and colors over here. So I'm going to change it to How to Use Keynote to bring it up to a different size. You can either type in the size you want in here, so I could change it to 24 size font, and it'll automatically do that. Or you can sit here and hold the arrow on your down trackpad just to get used to the size. So we have How to Use Keynote, and we have a different size box here. So I'm going to change that one to red. And as you can see, I'm going to change the text now to chalk. So this is the one thing why I don't like the large boxes, because clearly I don't want my title to be smaller than my name size. So I might bring these in a bit. Now, some of you might want everything nice, ordered, and structured. These are easy to free move. You can move them anywhere you want. As you can see on the screen, you can get these little things and it'll help automatically center your screen. So right here in the middle, you get those yellow bars, and that helps you to center it. And then you can actually get it to absolute center, and it'll show all four. So the Keynote and How to Use Keynote sign is now perfectly center with by Mr. Coleman right underneath. So for some of you that might be great and dandy, but other artistic people out there might want to add a little bit more style. So if you click on that text box, you can go back to style, and you can have a couple of extra images options down here. So what we have here is just the basic coloring, but if you click on this, you have a bunch of different options just like in PowerPoint. So you can do advanced granite, and you kind of get that different colors. So if you click on one of the squares to adapt, you can really start to mess around with the colors. So instead of just messing around with like a pinwheel, you can actually use these sliders to change the colors and the pigment, and you can actually watch it happen live on the screen. So you might want to give it a little bit more of an under the sea feel. So maybe I'll give it a little bit like turquoise there, and maybe make this a little bit of a lighter blue. and maybe I want to keep this one solid red. So now if you have the solid red down here, just like you click on these, you can also add borders, which is located right here. Sorry if I'm talking so fast. This is my first video, so I'm still trying to figure out a good pace. So we have the different borders here. I usually go with a line. Now, line sounds kind of boring. It just looks like this large, black, bold box around the corners. If you click on this one, you can pick some different things, which is where it gets kind of interesting. I really am a big fan of the fade sketch, so it kind of just makes it look like a pencil drawing, so a little bit of a sketch around it. So I'll do a sketch around that one. And for this one, I might want to add more of a blotchy writing with a pen line. And I'm going to change the color to kind of match. Oops. It changed. I accidentally clicked off the box. There. So you can change your appearance of the line right here with the coloring here. Now, since I accidentally changed the background, if you click off of all the boxes so nothing is shown as a highlighting, you'll get your slide layout. So for slide layout, you can even add your own colors. I'm going to keep mine white just so that you guys can see what we're doing on these edges. So if you want to add another slide, you'll hit the plus sign, and you have all these different options for plus signs. So let's start with an image slide. So maybe you want to say the next thing we're going to do is how to work Google. And say you don't need this text box, you just click on it and hit delete. Now, if you want that text box and you don't know how to hit the delete button on it, you can go to here and just hit cut, and that also erases it. So now we're going to go and try to find ourselves an image to fit here. So as you can see, I don't have an image, so I'm going to be going to Google. So I'm already set to Google being my home page, and I'm going to Google Images for Google. So I just Googled Google, and I'm going to click on Images. And let's say this picture looks good. So now that you have the image that you want, you can hit the combination of the buttons Command, Shift, and 4. And as you do that, you will now see that my cursor is kind of it's changed. It's no longer an arrowhead, it's more of like a camera lens. And what I can do is trace the picture where I want it and just take the picture. Now, the picture is gone, yes, but if you minimize the screen, the picture has now appeared right here on my desktop. So now let's open up our Keynote again and kind of shift it over a bit. So you can click on this and hit insert, but what I like to do is I just like to drag and drop. So as you can see, as I have the picture here, I grabbed it off my desktop and I'm sliding it towards the picture, and it's showing this little blue and white siding around the picture, which means that that's what the picture will replace. And I'm getting a green plus sign, which means it's addable. So if I add that there, the picture will automatically be added. Now, same thing here as our text boxes. We have our style, so we might want to give it a border. We don't have to, but I'm going to. So I'm going to give it a nice bold border with maybe a green outline. So now I got a little green outline on my border. And I'm going to change my background fill of my PowerPoint to blue. Now, since Google also has red in its name, maybe I want to change this font size to red. Now that kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, so what I'm going to do is just delete that. So now that we have an image and we have a presentation, you can kind of fill in the blanks on everything else. But what you can do now is add presentations. So we'll go back to our first slide. And as you can see here, the paintbrush is kind of the things you can add to either the slide, or if you click on text box, your text box. And even within this category, you have subcategories. So maybe you want this to come out in front. If you go to arrange, you can make that happen by clicking front. Now maybe you don't want the name being cut off, so you might want to just move it back. And we'll get that back to absolute center. So now we can work on animations. So we can add effects to these. So if we have no effect on here, we can click the title text and hit add effect. And this is kind of just pick and choose and watch. So I have it now dissolving in, and you can hit this little preview button here to watch as many times as you want. You can change the duration of it with this right here. So maybe I wanted to do super slow motion of 7 seconds of dissolving in. But let's be honest, we're teachers. We need as much time as we can get on these presentations for students. So I'm going to make the dissolve 1.25 and just nice little entry in. So then you can click on the next thing you want to have presented, which would be by Mr. Coleman, and I'm going to hit add an effect. And this one I'm going to have comet in, which kind of brings a light beam. I recommend using the comet with more of a darker background so you can see the effect better. So what I'm going to do is now change this. So you just hit the button, change, and simple as making a different option, and I'm going to do drop. So the drop kind of makes it look like it's dropping in, and what you can do here is change the duration so you can make it come in a little bit slower. And once again, you could type in your time here, so if you want this to be 20 seconds and you can hit preview, it'll literally bounce for 20 seconds, slowly running out of speed. Now, we won't watch that for the entire time, so we'll move to actions. Also, if you ever want to stop a preview, just click and it stops the preview. So, a couple more things on here is now that we have our options of our presentation's slides, we can now even add it to the slide itself. So now that nothing is clicked, you can see how it says transitions right here, and I have no transition, so you can add effect. Now what these are kind of cool is you can get these things called magic moves, which if you slide down far enough, you can kind of get it to rotate in. I like the object cube because it's a good way of just transitioning the slides, and it adds a little bit more of an appeal. So now what we can do is watch our transition, and that would be it. If you want to change your duration, you can. What I'd like to do is change it to random so that nothing is ever the same. Like so. So you can change this to be on click or have it happen automatically. I recommend slide transitions to happen on clicks, while the characters or text boxes that come in are very easy just to have them come in one at a time. Now, if you don't like the way things are lining up in here, you can hit build order down here at the bottom. And you can move it so that Mr. Coleman might come in first and then the title, or vice versa. And what I like here is you can kind of set everything up. So if you want to move this over a little bit, you can. And you can then say, okay, I want how to use Keynote coming in first and by Mr. Coleman coming in second. I want that to do the dissolve and that to do the drop, but I want these to happen after transition. And I want the delay to be 4 seconds. So taking too long on the cursor, just type in 4, hit enter, it's done, and now you can preview it. So that means when you start your presentation, you will start with 4 seconds of a white screen and then have it come in. Now, I forgot to change the by Mr. Coleman from dropping in for 20 seconds, so what we're going to do is we're going to edit that. So we're going to go back to this text box, click on it, and change the duration back to 2.25 seconds. So now what we can do is actually watch the presentation. So if you hit this play button up here, it'll even prompt you to say play this slideshow from the selected slide. You hit play, and just like we have it already set on a timer, the presentation will start 4 seconds in, which there it goes, and you have your presentation. Now, the next slide won't move on until you hit either spacebar, or if you guys have one of those USB speaker things, which I think are really cool, they're like little clickers, you can use those. If you're using an iPad, all you have to do is tap the screen. So I'm going to hit spacebar on mine, and that transitions the slide to the next page. And that's kind of how you use Keynote. Now to exit the slide, you can hit the escape button, which is in the upper left corner of your MacBook, and you might want to title it. So for this, I'm going to title this How to Use Keynote. And that's just a basic beginner's guide to it. Once you do that, you can hit File, Save, and it'll save it. And then you can hit the exit button. And as you can see, all my saves went to the desktop and it is right there. So now that we've used the Google image in the Keynote, we can just delete the Google snapshot or screenshot picture, and you've now got your Keynote laid out there, and you can click on that and reopen it to work on editing it whenever you want. Hope this video has been helpful, and have a great day.